San Francisco is still in shock over yesterday's devastating earthquake. Buildings collapsed, roads and bridges buckled, and there's still the smell of gas in the air from ruptured lines. Tonight, the city braces itself for what could be more of the same. At sunrise, firefighters were still battling fires in the Marina district of San Francisco, one of the neighborhoods hit hardest in the earthquake. At least 3 people were believed dead in the aftermath of the gas-filled inferno that destroyed an apartment building, consumed an entire block, and forced the evacuation of 400 people. Last night, the fire burned in the darkness that fell over San Francisco after the city's power went out. The understaffed fire department did their best to contain the blaze.
Because of the intensity of the fire, we could not approach it that close. So PG&E was required to shut it off at the street, which they did, I think, approximately 7 o'clock. And within 45 minutes to an hour, the fire was declared at least contained, and within another half an hour after that, it was under control.
A dozen buildings in the Marina district collapsed. Homes valued at $500,000 crumbled. The quake reduced this 4-story apartment building to 2 stories, and 5 people are believed to be still inside, and no one knows if they're still alive. Search dogs will be guided through the rubble as soon as the fire department gives us okay, but that could take another 2 hours. Many of the apartment buildings and homes appeared undamaged from the street, but many residents say their foundations are cracked and their homes are uninhabitable.
Then when I started seeing the walls split apart, I knew it was the big one. And everything just came crashing down. I tried to get out the door, and as I did, I saw this stair flip up, and then I just saw the sidewalks open up. And then I looked, and there was just a cloud of dust, and this place had already gone over in a matter of 15 seconds. That whole apartment building was gone. And then I watched a man from the 3rd story climb out that window right there. He rode it all the way down.
The quake shut down San Francisco's business community. The financial district was empty today. Employees were told to stay home. Businesses suffered minor damage from breaking glass. San Francisco's landmark Transamerica building reportedly swayed back and forth during the quake. Only several windows were broken. Other downtown businesses sustained extensive damage. An estimated 150 people were treated at the city's 12 major hospitals. Minor injuries are treated at the dozen emergency shelters scattered throughout the city. Cots are available to the homeless. The shelter is also providing food. Baseball great Joe DiMaggio hoped to find a lost relative at one shelter. Utility crews hope to restore power to most of the city before dusk, but many residents are preparing themselves for another night in the dark. Seismologists say there is a 20% chance that by early tonight a quake could occur, registering 6 or more on the Richter scale.
They are located more than 2 blocks from the collapsed Cypress span, but they're hardly secondary players. Hundreds of volunteers are camped out here, dishing out food and support to rescue crews. They come from all across the nation, and many have not slept for days. The Salvation Army has 15 canteens like this one throughout the Bay Area to help with disaster relief. This one is from Portland and will remain here through the rest of next week.
It's been a tremendous experience. It's been a real opportunity to help people and be a part of the team, and the response from the public in support of the Salvation Army and the other agencies that are serving has just been outstanding.
Oregon and 3 other Salvation Army workers from Oregon have been working day and night since arriving here Wednesday morning. Their mission of assisting rescuers in one of the worst disasters in history has been an emotional one.
Yeah, it's been very emotional for me. I guess probably because I'm tired, and then to see the total devastation of the whole thing is you know, it's just, you just can't imagine it until you see it, and all of those blocks of freeway that are down, and all of those cars, and not knowing, you know, who was dead or alive up there.
Search teams, firefighters, and police have been eating out of this Portland canteen for 2 days. Their appreciation is overwhelming.
We had about 9 hours sleep since Tuesday morning at 6 o'clock. And so anyway, but we're hanging in there.
Well, keep up the good work. We sure do appreciate your support.
Thank you very much. Your kind.
It builds a community. When Portland has a need, the people from the Bay Area will respond.
It is a never-ending job for volunteers and rescuers, with dozens of cars still trapped beneath fallen concrete. A job that many will never forget.
It's going to break my heart, man. I'll know that I did something about it, but, you know, it's going to be hard.
Despite their emotions, their work will continue. in a tragedy that would have been much worse without them. In Oakland, Steve Dunn, Channel 2 News. Daylight confirmed what rescuers already knew after a night of blindly searching for survivors. Most of the people caught in rush hour traffic on the Cypress span of Highway 880 were likely dead, crushed between the two levels of the bridge. Some rescuers estimate as many as 253 people may have died along here when the quake, measuring 7.0 on the Richter scale, rumbled through. For most of the morning, police were busy rerouting onlookers as Vice President Dan Quayle surveyed the scene from above. Heavy rescue equipment was brought in, and dogs, specially trained to sniff out victims, were put to work.
They're extremely important in the fact there are very few spaces that people can get to right now because of the way the freeway has collapsed on top of the vehicles.
Fear of possible aftershocks are keeping the media and many rescuers several hundred yards away from the wreckage. But some people couldn't be far enough away. Steve Meir moved from Portland to Oakland 3 months ago. After yesterday, he's planning to pack up and move back.
Can't get hold of nobody. I've been trying to call my dad in Portland, trying to call my mom in Klamath Falls. There's no way to get through. There's no water over there till tell you not to drink the water. You know, I don't know why, but they don't drink the water.
Earthquake scare you?
Yeah, I've never gone through. I've been through an earthquake when I was a kid, but nothing like this one.
Within blocks of the bridge collapse are buildings, many half gone. Bricks are strewn throughout the street. This house was knocked off its foundation. The neighbor saw it tilt and land on his home. Scare you?
Yes, indeed. What you did it scare me? Yes, indeed, it scared me. Sure, scared everybody that heard it. I know that thing was tough.
Volunteers have been pouring in from throughout the state, bringing food and support. This man says he saw the Cypress span collapse and started pulling bodies out of cars.
A company right across the street had some extension ladders. We went over there, clammed the fence, got the ladders, flew them back over the fence, and that's how we got up on top of the freeway, because the fire department was not here. No one was here but us.
Shortly after the earthquake, flights out of San Francisco were first delayed before being canceled altogether. United Flight 1116 was on the runway in San Francisco when the earthquake struck.
We were taxiing out from the airport gate to the end of the runway, and the plane just did a wobble like it ran over a ditch.
And the pilot said there was just an earthquake, and then they said the tower was out. The tower lost power.
I was thinking we missed it. I thought we didn't get out in the nick of time, actually.
But Flight 1116 was lucky. It was allowed to leave for Portland. This is how the San Francisco airport looks tonight, with no traffic coming or going. One Oakland resident remained happily trapped in Portland.
Well, I was going back to Oakland to go to work tomorrow morning at 2 a.m., and I am staying for another day of vacation.
Yes, can I make a call?
The breakdown in phone communications proved to be another obstacle for local residents like this Portland State University student trying to call his parents in San Francisco.
Okay, thank you. Said I can try, but there's not a good chance of that happening as of now.
I get nothing.
Sally McGrew didn't have any better luck all evening as she continuously tried to call her 81-year-old aunt in Carmel, just 40 miles from the quake's epicenter.
It is very frustrating, it is. I mean, you feel like if you had access to a plane, you'd just get on it and go down, because it's just like the phone has not been invented yet.
After 89 hours trapped in a car surrounded by rubble, the miracle man, 57-year-old Buck Helms from Weaverville, California, was lowered to safety amidst cheers from rescue crews. The intense rescue operation began at 6:05 this morning when a California Department of Transportation worker spotted Helms and saw his head and hands move. It was in a pancake section where nobody was expected to be alive.
He was just completely trapped inside the vehicle. Doors weren't able to open, windows weren't able to open. He was trapped, or basically caught in a void that was just big enough for him to survive it.
Diana Moore was the first paramedic to reach Helms. She had little room to work with.
It was about a 3.5-foot space. We were able to crawl in roughly on our stomachs again. We got into a more open part, and we were able to squat right at the patient.
Paramedics say Helms was fading in and out of consciousness when pulled from his crumpled Chevrolet Sprint. But rescuer Jeff Breckenridge heard the words of life.
Yes, he did. He did say something. He was thankful to be alive.
It has been a long, traumatic week for crews sifting through concrete. The prospect of finding survivors had diminished. But the discovery of a 57-year-old man alive who had spent more than 3 days without food and water has provided renewed hope.
It was just wonderful, a wonderful sight to see. And that gives hope to everyone in terms of what the potential is, because this man was found in one of the areas where the collapse was as great as almost anywhere else. So.
In Oakland, Steve Dunn, Channel 2 News.